Today's session is something interesting that I want to cover, which is creating monthly, quarterly, yearly views in a financial model. So I already have here some screenshots to help with us getting an idea of what I'm saying. Originally, I intended to do this questionnaire uh, like early on into the meeting, but since we are not much yet, so maybe I'm going to do this much later when more others join. I will come back to this questionnaire then. The idea is to ask if people already use the group tool under Excel. Okay, so this is what I mean when I say having different views. So you can have a yearly view like this, where the different financial years, and then also you can expand it to show still within the same sheet. You know, person can decide to see quarterly and also to try to see month. So it's all Sorry. Wow, wow. So you've not all been hearing me. I apologize for that. I thought, okay, so please, I need you to, sorry, I muted myself. I think I'm going to have to restart the whole presentation then. So here is the download of the file for practice. So I've shared to us the practice file, and then okay, so apologies once again. Let me just quickly recap. So welcome to this office hour 13 actually. It's office hour 13. I forgot to update that part. And so I'm going to show us how you create monthly, quarterly, and yearly views in a financial model. So right now, I want you to quickly tell me, have you used this tool before? Have you used this group tool before? So can you quickly mention if you've used before? So how you do that is go to menti.com, you type in this 80, 38, 39, 6, or you go directly to this link. So if you go to this link, let me quickly just push that here. So if you go to the link, you will be able to also fill in your answer. So once you fill in your answer, then it will set the tone for how I'm going to approach this. So awesome, someone says yes, so that's some good feedback. Any other person filling in answer, you can also go directly to that link that I've shared. So if you go directly to that link, you will also get here instantly. All right, so while you are filling that, let me move straight to the answer will always still keep popping up. So you can fill it, even though you no longer see it on my screen, I can pop back in to see what you have said. So this is what we are trying to achieve. I want to take us through a way of creating different views where you can see yearly. So this is like a yearly view right now. And then you can also see a quarterly view of your model of whatsoever thing it is you are reporting, because it's not just limited to models, okay? And then you can also see the entire monthly view, right? So how do we achieve this? So again, I'm hoping that you filled in more answers here so I can see. Okay, so we have a split, though just two people are filled, but nonetheless, I can carry on with what I want to do. So don't forget that you can grab the practice file. So grab the practice file on the link that I'm sharing here in the chat box. So grab the practice file here. So if you look at the chat box, you will see that I've posted it, but I'm going to repost it again, where you grab the practice file. So that way, if you want to practice along with me, then great, we can do this together. So without taking any more time, let us dig into the practical side of it. So look at this table that I have in here, right? So if you look at this, you will notice that this is a financial model it's patterned for a software company. So one thing about software companies is, a software as a service company or a subscription-based service company, is the fact that the way we capture the input have to align with the company's product offering. So if you offer a monthly subscription, right? So if you look at my screen, you see that here we are capturing monthly, how the company's product. So they have 4 software products where people can, so every month they get new customers, right? So let me just zoom this again and again so that it looks a lot bigger. So every month they get new customers, there's a cost to acquiring new customers, there's monthly recurring revenue, there's average revenue per customer. So these are some of the things that you capture about a startup, right? Now, if I already captured this monthly, then if I'm creating my reports, it will make sense that at least when you are looking at the income statement, you should be able to see something a lot more neat and yearly version of it like this. So you want to see the yearly, what has happened the entire year, in your income statement. And so, for instance, if as I've done this, I want you to be able to see what has happened on a quarterly level, on a monthly level. So what am I going to use for demonstration? I've given you the file. So if you open the file, you will have exactly what I'm going to create. So for you, now with the file that I've sent to you, let me just open that file. So I've given us a file, but I'm going to create mine from scratch. So that way you can be able to practice along and see what I'm doing. So, how can I create all of these views, right? So let me go to what I've given you. So if I pick for revenue, for instance, you can do this for anything, but because of time, I'm going to just pick one component of this report, which is I'm going to pick the revenue. So if I pick the revenue and I say, okay, so I have revenue, I want to show different perspective to it. So I want to show revenue. So I create a new sheet so that I can do a new file so that I can do all of this for us to see. So if I paste this in here and I tell Excel to keep the values so that I don't have to retype values, right? So I'm going to just make these all expand. Okay, great. So you can see my screen, right? Just a bit of space arrangements here. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to create quarters. So creating quarters means I put in the space for quarters, right? So I'm going to put in space for the quarters. Okay. And then for this case now, I want to use a formula so that it becomes faster when I'm copying and pasting. So I'm going to use a formula here and say, okay, this is going to be equal to the year, right? Year. I hope you hear me loud and clear now. Apologies that I muted myself the other time and I kept thinking you were hearing. So the year, and I'm going to add Q, and I'm going to say the month, of this divided by 3. So that we get, for me, dynamically the year and the quarter. So if I press enter, I forgot to put the divide by. So do you want to accept this correction? I'm going to still have to modify the correction. It's divide by 3. Okay, so that tells me this is 2020 quarter 1. Okay, so now that I've done the quarter part, let me just knock off this space in here. Okay, great. So as we all know, this is going to be equal to the summation of all of this, right? So that gets for me the quarter 1 value. So I can even expand this so that it shows, right? And then because I want this to be really, really different, so let me give it a color so that all the quarterlies will show in a different way. Okay, if you have any question, you can pop them in the chat box. I am monitoring. Okay, so now because of time, I'll try to be fast, right? So I'm just quickly going to be putting in the space for all the quarters. So I'm going to just like straight away come here after September, right click, I insert the space, I go to after December. But for that one, because I need 2 spaces, I need for the quarter and I need for the year, right? So what do? I insert 2 spaces, right? So I keep on, so because I have like 5 years here, so just bear with me. But it will make our work a lot neat, like closer to reality when I'm done. So that was why I decided not to just do only 1 year, because to be sincere, when you are doing this, you will have to do for like, if you have this kind of financial model forecast, you will do for all of the years, all the months that you have made forecasts for. So again, for December, I'm going to do twice, so that I'm going to have for the quarter, and then I'm going to have for the apologies for that. I need to put my phone on silent. So I'm going to have for the quarter and then the year. Some people also try to do half year, but to be sincere, quarter is a lot more what monthly, quarterly, and and yearly is really enough. But once you know how to do this, you can decide to also insert half a year within there. So I'm going to show some nice tricks. So just bear with me that this is looking a bit laborious, but you will enjoy it because I will show you how you can quickly leverage what you've done and then like instantly put it across all of them. So that's why I'm laying this background of inserting the spaces ahead. So I'm almost done, right? I'm on the last year right now, which I think is 2024. So just to add in 3 more quarters and we are good to go. Okay, so I said last quarter right now. Okay, so what do I do? Remember that I have done a formula here. So if I zoom my screen, you can see the formula, right? So this formula allows me to extract the quarter, dynamically. So let me just grab this formula and paste for you in the chat box. So in case you are trying to, do this, it will be, at least you will see the formula. That's why I sent you the file anyway. If you download the file, the formulas are also there in the file. So what do I do? I grab this, I copy it, I select all those spaces. So I select all the places that I need to paste these. So I'll be a bit faster now. To aid my speed, I'm going to reduce my screen zoom so that way I can see a lot more at the same time. So the annoying thing with this is that if you make one mistake, that can be annoying. Mistake in terms of like maybe I mistakenly didn't hold the control key. That can be painful. So I try not to be distracted when I'm doing this. Okay, so I almost there. So we just have like 5 more quarters to select. So select this.
We are not seeing the screen,
sir. You said
your screen, sir.
You're not seeing my
screen. Share your screen. Yes, sir.
Oh, that's interesting. You're not seeing my screen.
Yes.
So let me share. I'm going to cancel and I'm going to share all over again. So
I was seeing it.
You're seeing my screen?
Okay. Yeah, I've been seeing it for in the beginning.
Right. Okay. So what about now? I've shared, huh? I just hope all the things I've done have not gone because that would be painful.
No, they've not gone, and we are still seeing it.
I'm seeing it now. I'm just seeing it now.
Okay.
Yes,
great.
right.
I can go ahead then. So I'm almost done. That's why I'm really worried. I hope they're not gone. But hopefully, thankfully, they still are showing. So I just paste, right? So you see the amazing thing about that formula is the fact that all of those things that I've done, they pasted. They, everything done. So I'm done. I'm left with just to bring out the yearly perspective. So for the yearly perspective, I'm just going to say maybe I want to prefix it with financial year. By the way, let me zoom my screen so you can see the formula I'm typing. So this one is a lot more straightforward. So I'm just picking, the year. Okay. So I'm going to also copy this and I'm pasting in the chat box so that way you can see. Let me just quickly do that right now. Paste in the chat box. This is the formula I just did. And so that it shows differently, than the other perspectives, right? I'm going to color it different too. So now, something interesting. You see, if I'm doing for the year, let me try to make everything show. Now, if I'm doing for the year, if I want to sum up for the year, there are 2 ways. So there's one way that we finance guys use a lot more because we encounter this issue a lot. So there is the way everybody thinks of. There's the way of, let me pick all of the months figures only. So I pick January to March. I do a comma. I selectively jump the quarter ones. I pick these. I do a comma. I jump the quarter after that so that I don't do a double count. I pick these, I do a comma, and then I pick these, and then I close the entire bracket, right? And I do enter, and that will get me the value. But you see, this is a lot of there's a manual step to it that we can avoid, right? I could have still gotten the same answer if I had selected everything, as you would have if there were no quarterly subtotal kind of in there, right? So if I do this, you'll be like screaming, "Oh, Michael, is this not going to be wrong? Will I not be adding the quarter to it? Just what, right?" So if I do this, you will notice that yes, the answer is not correct, right? The thing is, we just need to divide. So whenever you have subtotals in your data, just dividing by 2, takes care of that double counting, makes it a lot faster. So if you are pressed for time, or if in your own case you are summing over a really long table list and there are subtotals, after every segment, instead of you doing the manual or process of you jump, we can just do one here now and divide by 2. So now that I've shown us this approach, maybe I just leave that approach in this. So I'm going to put that approach here, tell it that you should place the data, and that is the approach I'm going to drag down. And so right now, all what I've done before, as regards copy and paste, I'm going to just do that all over. So like I told you, using formulas make this fast, right? So once I paste here, the year will come out, so the 2023 has come out, and also I do likewise for the year 2022. I know my screen might lagging a bit. That's the nature with things. So just bear with me. But that's why I will try to talk a bit slow, and but if the lag is really so much, let me know. I might be able to do something. I think sometimes internet can also be something that one can fiddle with to reduce the lag. And so now that I've achieved the calculations that I want, okay, so let me just zoom my screen. I've achieved the calculations I want. There are now different months and the quarters after, right? So how do I achieve the effect that I'm talking about, this effect over here? How do I achieve this type of effect where you can decide that you want to see just for the years, and boom, you're seeing only the years, right? You can decide that you want to see the quarterly breakdown, and you see just the quarter, right? That's what I mean by choosing a view. And you can decide that you want to see like everything all over again. So how do we achieve this? So that is where the question I was asking about, have you used Excel's group 2? This is where that question comes to relevance, right? This is the thing that makes it possible for us, this particular tool here, group. Okay, so I'm going to now use it, and you will see how it achieves for us. I've seen people in sales use this to show different regions and then the different customers that they have in those regions. So that way you can see the customers like this, and you can collapse to see for regions. So I am going to try to zoom my screen so that you see my steps a lot easier and like bigger. So I go to data menu, right? And then towards the end, you're going to see group. So group is the thing that makes this possible. All I do is I select the things that I want grouped. So I want all the months to collapse so that this subtotal shows after, right? So that's why I'm selecting the months, right? So the first 3 months that make up that quarter, I click on group, So I'm going to be a bit faster now. I select the month, I click on group, I select the month, I click on group. So this becomes repetitive again. Unfortunately, you can't select like all of the months at the same time. Otherwise, it just won't work complain to say what I've selected are not contiguous, like they're not together. So now that you've gotten the concept, I can bring my computer back to the smaller resolution and be a bit faster now. So I'm going to just keep doing this like again and again. Select the months, I click on group, I select the month, I click on group, I select the month. I think I've over selected. This is fun. Okay, and I was trying to be faster. So I select the month, I click on group, I select month, I click on group, I select. Why I'm taking the pain is it looks nicer if I do everything first before this demoing instead of like saying because of time I'm going to just do half. But luckily, I decided to pick a topic that even with this time I'm spending, I will still be able to finish within 1 hour of our meeting today. So I select, I'm now towards the end of the second to the last year. Let me just go to right. I group, scroll some more. By the way, you'll notice that sometimes you see the side of my face, you see my face. I'm using 3 screens actually. So it's in where whatever I'm working on is showing where I look at. The webcam might not always keep me looking directly. Okay, so that is the major work, right? And then what now is, what about the yearly one, right? By the way, this one that I've done, right, you can see effects already. If I zoom, right, you will notice that I already now have these 2 things here. Already now have this thing showing like 1 and 2. Okay, so what this stands for is that I have 2 views. So this is what I mean by view. Maybe there's another word for it, but this is what I mean when I say views, right? So if I again come out of this zoom mode, okay. So if I click on 1, you see that the months are gone. I'm now seeing quarterly. Okay, then if I click on 2, let me zoom so you can see what I'm calling the 1 and the 2 I'm talking about. So if I click on 2, boom, I'm back to like how it was, right? So it's more like hierarchy if you sometimes want to use that perspective to it. So the higher hierarchy is the lower number, so that's like 1. And then I'm seeing like quarterly before I decide to go to 2 and start seeing 1. But my work is not done. I want to also see for all of the years at once. So let me just again use it zoom on my screen so I can see 1 year at once, and then I can pick that faster. So I pick for all the year, including the quarters in that year. I click on group. You already know what I mean by click on group, right? And then I scroll to do likewise for year 2021. I select everything in that year 2021. I say group. Then I do likewise for year 2022. I select everything in year 2022, and then I click on group. And now I'm going to have to do for year 2023. So I select everything in year 2023. If you're just joining, I've shared with us the practice file. So you will see all what I'm doing already there, even especially the formulas, which makes it a lot faster for one to be able to replicate these for different years, especially when you have more than 1 year. So I click on group, and this is the end of those creation of views, right? So right now I get an experience where I am able to go here and pick that I want to see level 1. So now I have 3 levels. I don't know if you noticed that before it was 2 levels. Now I have 3 levels. If I click level 1, what do I see? I see the yearly perspective. So I'm able to see on a yearly perspective what is happening, right? And then if I click on level 2, I begin to see on the quarterly perspective all over again. So you see, this can be really nice. And then if you want to see for the monthly, back again. So I see people use it for budgeting. They use it for capturing expenses. They use it for capturing sales. They use it for capturing performance review, especially when monthly performance review. and you want to see what the average is at a quarter, or you want to capture for staff across different departments, so you can see the staff and then the department, and then you can even maybe decide to see something else like region in case your location in case your company has presence in more than one location or more than one subsidiary. So these are the things that this makes possible. And any questions before I let me look at my time. Okay, so I have like 29 more minutes. Any questions before I try to add this?
Well, no questions. Just to remind you to kindly email the recorded video as well as the template to us.
Okay. As for the template,
my email in the chat.
As templates, I've already put the download link of the template. Have you seen the download link?
Okay.
If you scroll in the
I'll
chat,
check
so if you go to the chat, the download link is there. For the video, when we are done, the recording will come out, then I will post it.
Thank you, sir.
So, are we all good with what I've demonstrated so far?
Yeah, we are good. I was able to replicate it. So far.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I have a question.
Yes. Please carry on.
What you did, I was able to replicate it. I have a question concerning your formula.
Yes.
Let me go to. For the 2020 Q1.
Yes.
You use the formula year I2, like here if I'm referencing column I02.
Yes.
Okay, maybe because the way it was showing mine was showing I2, not just I1, not I1. So I2 in your own case, I1, is it a date format? Like the way this that column, do you have to like make the data type a date format, or you just copy it and paste, you just write March 2020 and it recognizes it that way? That this is month, this is year, or or is it a pivot column? I don't know.
You're right that it must be a date format actually. But the good thing with Excel is if I type June 2020, it automatically sees it as a date format.
Okay.
So it's actually a date format. If it's not a date format, there's no way this formula can extract the year out of it. Okay. So I will have to use maybe another formula and maybe write. So, but because the date, that's why I could use this year formula to get out the year portion of the date. Is that part clear?
Yeah, it is.
So, what do you think if I need to do a report that is like this? So, like for me now, in the original model that I showed us, this one. So, what I have is in the planning phase. So, in the planning phase, I'm just trying to wait. I think there's a small lag in my screen and great. So I'm thinking it should be showing for everybody now. So in the planning phase, a lot of the time you want to be very granular in your plans. When you are creating your financial plans, your factory capacity, your production level, your salaries, your expenses, you might want to be monthly in capturing them. So that's what is happening here. I've captured the scenarios. I've captured a whole lot of the things that will drive the forecasted values. I've captured them monthly, right? So when it comes to the exact management reports, to the summarized, say, financial statement, I might even just want to show management just the yearly perspective. I'm not interested in showing them monthly again or even quarterly. So I want them to see the yearly perspective, right? So how can I, without doing manual, when I say manual, I can do a formula that I will drag. How can I capture stuff that is here, like we have done in months, monthly? How can I capture stuff in months and show them in a year perspective, right? So because of, I don't know, should I do it on the same screen? Let me just do it on the same screen so that I won't be going between two sheets. I mean, do it on the same sheet. So I'll be jumping from sheet to sheet. So what I mean is, imagine I want to show total revenue. And this total revenue, I want to show it by year. So total revenue by year 2020, year 2021. So I hope you see my screen. And then up to year 2024. I think that was the last year we had. So what formula will I do to show all of these? Am I going to come here and start doing equal to sum? And I start picking like this. This, comma, this. Or I start going to picking just the eventual year. So let's see for the year one. But if I do this, to drag become a problem, right? So what are the ways that I can use that will allow me to drag, right? So I'm going to show you one way that feeds off the fact that we can extract the year out of the month, and somewhere all the year are equal to the year we're interested in. So I don't know if you have heard of this formula, sum product. It's a very, very useful formula to achieve something like this. So I'm going to, I hope you all see my screen, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to do some products and say I am interested in where the years across all of these. So where these years are, so you see what I've done, I've selected all of the years. Okay. So where those years, they are, I need to do that again because I should have extracted the year out. So the year, all these years of all those month dates. Okay. So where that year, if you see my screen now, so where the year of all the dates around those months, so now everything is showing, is equal to the year that I am interested in. Okay. So now that I've done that, I can wrap all of these in the brackets and say this is one condition. I know it looks a bit tricky if you have not used some product before, but that's what it does. Sometimes it replaces VLOOKUP. Sometimes it replaces a couple of formulas that does a bit of lookup and aggregation anyway. So now I'm going to say all of that, then get me the values that are meeting those conditions, values for those particular periods. So you will notice that I just now select the values across. I'm going to just cross a bit so you see what I mean. So what have I done? I've said I want to tell the value where the year of this different date period equal to the year that I am interested in. This to come up with like a true false series of answers. All those true false, multiply them by the value, for those different periods. So the nice thing about Excel is true can be one in one. Which means that let me just turn on. Let me everybody. Yes. Okay, so great. So the echo is gone off. So I'm saying, I hope I've not muted myself. Okay, great. So I'm saying that all those true false multiplied by the values for those months. So which means when the answer is true times the value will give us like the value. But where the first part of this my formula is false false will become like 0, so which means like 0 times the value, and that gives us 0, right? So with all of this explanation, if I do the enter, I think something has gone wrong. Okay, so there's a bit of an issue based off the fact that I have values that are not dates, so it's coming up with a value error. So what I'm going to do, at least so that you understand this, first of all, before we complicate it, I'm going to use this somewhere else. And I can show you what we can do to extract this one out in another way. So, but let me go straight to something like this. So if I go straight to something like this, I have this already. Then if I go back here, but now I'm going to do a separate sheet. Okay, and then I paste, and then I tell it to retain the values. So it's brought back the values, right? And then okay, great. So I'm going to do that, which I just showed us now, and you will see that it will work, right? So if I copy this total revenue, and I say I'm interested in doing for let me just 2020, 2021. So let me increase the zoom and let me drag this so I get up to 2024. Then I'll do the formula again. So remember what I said, some products, let me zoom my screen. Great. Some products, I wrap the first condition, which I'm saying where the year. So I'm saying where the year of the dates. So this date now, I pick all of the dates, So I say where the year of the dates is equal to the year that I'm computing for. So if you remember, that was the explanation I gave, and I said this should multiply by the values, for all those periods. The values for all those periods. Okay, and the explanation I gave is the fact that this will come up with a true, false, true, false. So for where the year of the date is equal to 2020 true, where it's not equal, it comes to false. And then those true, false value are going to multiply the values of the actual revenue. And then it will become like where it's true to retain it, where it's false will be like 0 times the value, and that one will come to 0. So if I do that, I'm going to get the answer, right? And so let's compare if this answer is really, what it is that it should have been. So let me just comma style it. There's a keyboard shortcut for that, but for now, let's not worry about that part. So what if I do it manually? So let's try and see if I do it manually, I'm going to get the same answer, right? So this is for March, January till December. January till December. January. Oh boy, I've gone really far. So 2020 actually. Okay, great. December. So is the answer correct? Voila, it is. The advantage to this is that I can drag it. So I can drag this to the right, and it computes for the other years. So that's what makes this really interesting. Let's compare, right? So if I do sum and I manually try to do for 2021. So 2021, I pick and I drag slowly so I don't go too fast. Okay, 2021 December. Okay, so that's done. Is the answer matching? Let's check. See, it is. So that's the advantage I get with using that sum product. So I'm just going to undo my screen, be in that formula, and then any question, anybody confused about how this formula works? So are we clear as to how this can, help you extract out the year, but now not as a perspective like the year into another table that you really have the years, unlike the one I did before where you will have created all everything and you are just using group to collapse some things out of view. So is this also clear? Let me throw in the formula in chat box.
It is clear.
So now what about the situation that I have created for myself in the other one where unfortunately some product is not working based on the fact that I have not just done dates. I have things that are not dates coming with a value error. One formula I use a lot in project finance where they could tell you that okay, we're going to have a moratorium for 5 years or no moratorium for 12 months, and then the thing should start counting after the moratorium, or operation is going to start after 60 months of construction. And I want it to be variable. When I say variable, meaning that it's a template. If something happens and construction does not complete within 60 months and they end up updating it that construction takes 24 months, my model captures it and starts the calculation of production or volume of production after that has happened. Anyway, what I'm trying to point out is there's a way I could have still said equal to sum, and no, not equal to sum this time around. It's okay. Sum 2 can do it anyway. So equal to, will I be summing? In this case, I don't think I will sum. I will just do index straight away. So index is the main thing I want to use, where I'm able to say it should just pick the so it should go through all of this, right? So you should go through all of this and it should get for me what is in a particular position. So we need to manually count. So for me to know where the first position is going to start from. So what some people do is maybe this will be you will recognize this once I do it because this one is more common. So you see what people do is they put period. So they will be like period. So they will be like this is one. So that's why I say in project finance this is very common. So this will be like period 1, period 2, and stuff like that, period 3, But in my own case now that I've done quarter and years with it, for now, don't worry that the period might not be as accurate as it should be, but the concept is what I wanted to grab. So if I do this, I can now be like index, I pick all of these, and I try to figure out where the first year total pops up. It pops up in 17. So this is going to be really difficult to multiply. So this is 17. Anyway, at least so you get to see how it works. First of all, 17. So that gets for me. Let's compare 180 something, right? So that gets for me this, right? For the whole essence is I want to drag it. So that's the whole essence. Is dragging is the whole essence. So one way is I can come in here and put the period numbers. So I could do like a, look for the financial year and get for me the period number. So we all know how we could have used a easy VLOOKUP for what we want to use in this case. Let me use XLOOKUP in this case. So I could have just said look up the financial year, and then when you in this place, and then get me the number. Later on, you want to combine all of this into one formula so that, okay, this now dynamically gets for us this, right? And then I can say, instead of this 17 here, I pick this one. And that way, this can always pick just that period exactly. So sometimes people create flags. If you come across financial project finance models, they will say they create flags and say this is when something is going to start and another thing is going to start. So this is one. Another way, which is going to almost feed off this same approach, but might reduce the amount of work. Index, and I know that there's a pattern. So you know that this is like multiples of this, right? So I could just do index, all of these again, right? And then what do? I say 17 times count these. So this is what I do more because I don't like using helper columns. So I try to use something that I will not need to create something somewhere else. So this can be a bit faster. I'm going to get the same answer. So it's all about you first understanding. So with this one, I don't need this. You see, this one is gone off with that approach, but with this one, I don't need that anymore. So I'm already using something that, so like this now, let me just zoom. With this counts, which tells me this is 1. If I press F9, see, it evaluates. So that is 1, right? Then if you see here, when I drag it, it drags to something like this, right? Which if I press F9, it evaluates to 2. So I kind of look for approaches that requires me not having to type something somewhere else in Excel. So this one is going to evaluate to like 3. So you get the whole reason for using this approach. So more of the time I use something that will not require me doing something somewhere else. So any questions? Any questions? We are nearing the end. So I hope at least I've been able to open our eyes to 1 or 2 things that can be of practical use to you. So I'm hoping if you have templates already, you can start, involving some of these things in your templates, adding them there. Okay. So any question? Is it clear? Any part you want me to just maybe re-explain? Are we good? We can unmute ourselves. We can say 1 or 2 things.
Thank you.
Mr. Michael. We just want to find out. I said thank you for this privilege. Thank you for your time.
All right, my pleasure, sir.
So when I ask you again, because we want to be having you very regularly, in spite of your tight schedule. We are eagerly looking forward to having you again.
Oh, okay. Yes, sir. My pleasure. I think as long as something exceptional doesn't happen, I try to do it weekly. So every week I try to find something new to share. So hopefully next week too, there will be something else that will share with us. And just in case, okay, Mr. Debo also says thanks for the desk counter approach. You are welcome, sir. So just in case you are interested in, there are 2 more sessions that I have today. So let me just quickly post to us the details of the other. The one you just joined now is the financial modeling one at 4 p.m. I also have another session that's on. I'm going to post it so you can see all the details. So at 4 p.m., I plan to show us something about user form. So if you use Excel a lot and you want to be able to create like a user interactive form, something that is as if it's a program in Excel that people will be amazed, like, whoa, so I can do this in Excel. Unfortunately, I can't show you some. I still worked on it overnight for a client, but it's a client, and I'm on a part of confidentiality involves me not showing client work just anyhow. But during this session, I'm going to do from scratch, and you will see how it's very easy to do. Even if you don't know VBA, a lot of this is click, and then just a few things that you can even Google yourself. So I will just at least break the ice for. So those who are interested further can build more on whatsoever it is I show them. And those of you who even know it, maybe I'll be able to trigger some nice use cases for you to start applying this to. So that's the one that will happen by 4 p.m. today. Then after that,
about the login?
Okay, it's in the chat box. So if you see, I've sent it. So the one for the Excel is the one that is vip.yourbizedge.com/Excel line. Can you see the chat message that I've dropped? So it's there. Okay, so people are asking that, can we use Power BI instead of this approach? Yes, because Power BI too has this, but it will be a pivot table approach. So in pivot table, you can collapse, you can expand, kind of. So it will be that type of collapse and expand that we have in pivot table. It will not be this group. Pivot table doesn't have this group feature. So yes, we can get same kind of display in Power BI, but it will be by using pivot table or matrix, what Power BI calls matrix table. Okay, so thank you very, very much.